Get ready to enjoy Christmas. Get ready to enjoy the New Year, because when January hits, I guess we're finna get some real good news, boy. Hey.
Is there a safety over there? Yeah. No, I don't want to.
Paul, can you see the broadcast?
Oh. Yeah, I see it. I'm gonna post it in the chat.
All right.
Yeah, baby.
And go to the league show, bro.
Gotcha.
All right. Yeah. All right. And grandson running my wife crazy. What?
Ravens
nice,
live.
Ravens live.
I gotta see in game. That shit changing game. I'm gonna be mad as hell. Practice mode is fucking up, man. Squat flat, just leave him off. Let me see. Oh my god, they ain't giving it to me. What the fuck? Let's see what it does. Let's see how they play. Let's get on alignment. Let's see how they play. Okay. Let's get on alignment. Let's see what they do. Ooh, I had to drop somebody. Okay. I can get on him. Let's see how they play. Go ahead.
Like always, appreciate the love.
Come on.
What are we looking
There
for?
you go.
Dogs.
What are we looking for?
Browns.
Dogs.
Let's see how they playing.
Like always, appreciate the love and support. Please continue to like, comment, and subscribe.
Let's see how we doing. Let's spread them out. Let's see how they play. Let's see how this plays. Let me go back.
What are we looking for? Dogs. Welcome to the first episode, the premiere of season 5, Game of Thrones, GOT5.
Titans back and have read the rules. Lol face with tears of joy.
Why are you coming up though? Fighting on that shot.
Let's get to it. You know what? I'm gonna explain some things while you on too, because I was supposed to call you and holler at you about the last thing you asked me, but I'll do it out broad and just talk about it. All right. Welcome to those who are tuned in. Welcome.
No.
Let's see what
Let's
you
get
doing.
to it. Let's get to it. Let's get to it.
No problem.
Real. Any plugs right now? Yes, Real Draft 8 is on its way, baby. This will be the last 48, 24-hour league of mine. Anything Game of Thrones is done. This is the last Game of Thrones. So once this Game of Thrones is over, we will not be bringing that franchise back. RDL 8 will turn into RDL 9 the moment Madden 25 come out. While we're in RDL 8, NCAA football will be dropping. NCAA 25 will be dropping, and we will be transitioning into college football and real draft. One league, one game, all this long. Two spots left. If you want to be a part of RDL, two drops left.
Okay. And bro hooks ain't doing shit. They ain't doing shit. Oh, there you go. Now they running back. That 3-week hook is making them change up.
All right, so we had a really good draft. I don't know how many people were, I do know how many people. Everybody was really drafting except for 3 people that draft. But in that draft was a really good class, right? We got some really good standout diaper dandies that we will be talking about through tonight's episode. We will be talking about the diaper dandies. I think everybody did a good job. Everybody went and got some of what they needed. Some people got luxury players and picks. Yep. And hold on, of course, what time?
Okay. Okay.
Hold on.
Okay. Bro hooks ain't really doing nothing for me. They ain't matching on fucking thing. What's up, man?
All right. Let's get to it, man. I got a little bit of energy to talk about some things. Things been a little quiet throughout the regular season this year. I'm gonna just keep it 100. I was losing. I'm not doing no show when I'm getting my ass kicked. I gotta get in the lab, figure some things out. Nah, just a little bit here and there, man. Rest in peace to my dog Jazz. Had to put her to sleep last Friday. Rest in peace to
How
my
serious
cousin
was that?
Ish. Fuck your funeral on the 30th, bruh.
That's on 30th?
Hmm?
Okay.
It's your birthday. I mean birthday. It's your
Crow flat,
funeral on the 30th.
R flat, C flat,
All right, so we're
F
looking at
flat.
rushing leaders right now. Wow, look at this. 162 carries rushing leaders. Kendre Miller. For
It's
Kendre
Nazir's
Miller has been in the
second
top has been a top running back in this league essentially since his rookie season. He's, been that guy. He's already at 1,000 yards this year on 162 carries, 1,033 and 15 rushing touchdowns. Right behind him right now, you got Anthony Israel with 144, 908, 13 touchdowns, and then the magnificent Chase Brown, 136 carries for 901 and 6 rushing touchdowns. These guys are showing no signs of slowing
That's
down.
naked.
They putting in work. They putting in work. Of course, they putting in work. But, we hear a small school star making big waves. Pay attention. Dell Jackson, who's outstanding. Play cannot be ignored, nor can the drop off in talent he faces each week. Talk about it.
Man, what the fuck?
All right, so this year I feel like the games being played schedule wise has been really tough. Guys have been playing guys, right? We're at that point
Yeah.
now where guys are guys, you know what I'm saying? And your team is your team, and guys are playing guys. Each week it feels like it's a big time battle. Each week feels like a playoff fight. And we about to see who's the last man standing. We do have a couple of undefeated teams still remaining early on at week 8. I would say sort of the halfway point. Guys are still with no losses right now. So, all right, so when we talk about the diaper dandies as well, man, we talk about some guys that made trades that jumped into the top 10. The Baltimore Ravens live in the top 10. They actually was in the top 10 twice this year from a trade they made 2 drafts ago.
Oh.
That's how you do it, baby. People don't pay attention to that. You keep if you come in the league with the picks, or if you made the pick a season before. Like you can't have a first round pick, go get a first round pick, and then you got the number 5 pick and then the number 4 pick because you just traded somebody that during that off season or that during that season. But if you made the trade, like how guys is getting rid of quarterbacks or big time quarterbacks or big time edge rushers or D linemen, and you get multiple firsts. Those picks, wherever they land at, they your picks wherever they land at, and they're yours. So like if you traded a big time DN and got a first this year and a first next year, and where them picks land at is your pick, right? So if you got or first this year and the first next year, or no, 2 firsts in the same draft class, those picks are yours. So wherever they land at, they're yours. Now, if you trade during the offseason or right before the offseason or during that season and you made that trade for that second first and it falls in the top 10, you got to trade out of it. With that being said, we had the Jets jump up to pick 3 with a Broncos trade. Big time trade, too. Nice little trade. The Bengals found their way at 4 with a big time trade with the Buccaneers. And then we had a new coach come in and take over the New York Giants. That was in the top 10, and then you had some guys that was just sitting in the top 10 because they were top. They played top 10 football. With that being said, the draft was loaded. We had a really good defensive line draft. I think the linebackers were solid, but it was really only 2 really good guys that stood out that were like top 15 type players. I think this draft was more deep with the interior, like offensive line and D line was really solid. Quarterback, another quarterback draft, really solid quarterback draft. It was really a big time battle for quarterbacks. It was a few of them in this draft, and we had the last 3 drafts where we had really good quarterbacks come out the draft. You also had, some running backs that can be game changers, but I'm not 100% sure that there's a running back that came out of the draft that will be a first year starter. I think most of those guys are going to, be backups and play some special teams. I don't know if they're going to be guys. I don't know if there's a running back that came out now. I know the Patriots end up getting 2 out of the 2 out of 6 of the best running backs in the draft. When they already host a running back and Anthony Iverson over there as well. So I doubt that those 2 type of studs probably would have been the ones that I could see starting or getting a start for a team, but they're on the same team right now. And I've yet to see a trade come across my desk of somebody trying to go get a starting running back from the Patriots. He got 3. The wide receiver room, it was some game changers in the draft. Falk, did any of them pass you by that you thought about like this could be a game changer? If you can recollect yourself to remember what the
Yeah.
receiver room looked like.
Was it the Dolphins? Got Ross? I think he might change his name.
Yeah, he
Or the
probably changed his
Giants?
name, but now the Dolphins actually got the Dolphins didn't get him. He got somebody else. The Giants got the boy Roth. He got the coach's brother. But he changed his name. But we know who he is though. Speed Demon. What did you like about him? Was it just the speed, the size? Like what did you like? He had a
I think
combination of a little bit of everything.
I think it was his combination. There's some things you just can't teach. You know, you can't coach, you can't train, and he had it.
Hmm. You drafted a
Had it.
receiver in this same draft. Don't know if he was the first rounder. I think he did have two first rounds, but I think he was a second round pick you got at the receiver position, Maurice Teller.
Him dot.
And Dot. Well, as the draft board was getting cleaned up, and you were going through your draft process, you guys had him high on your board, or was that somebody that just fell in your lap you couldn't pass?
We had him fairly high. We had him with a second round grade. I think he might have fell to us at 3. We're wanting to get young after the Diaper Dandies, the all-time season that Will Falk had. We were thinking that give them some help for the future.
Hmm. With the quarterback that you had back there in Marino, how vital was it to get that tight end back after giving up a big time tight end in Ezekiel to go to the Broncos? You give a receiver and a tight end and a pick. Now let me ask you this: how important was it to grab those pieces back? Like some would say, you had that on your roster, but you got rid of it and end up getting it back on your roster. Why was it important, and why wasn't it like? Why did you trade those positions? Like the argument be, well, what the fuck you trade them for in the first place if you went back and got those same positions, right? Tell us why that wasn't that's not the case where somebody can say that to you. Why did you trade those guys when you go right back and getting those guys again throughout the draft? Why was it necessary for you?
Well, I think one of the biggest things is you look at value, you look at production, and then you look at age.
Hmm.
And guys that we've had in our system, and they're getting up there 27, 28. Pretty soon you're going to make a decision. Are you going to resign them again on their third contract, or are you going to replace them?
Right.
And so that's where we were. Guys were getting a little. We wanted to get younger. We wanted to save. That money we had to spend.
Hmm.
Um, we get that rookie contract, and the more rookie contracts you could have with dogs, the better you'll be because you're able to re-sign everybody. I don't. Right now with Marine, I got like 2 more years. I got to play 60 million a season for a quarterback.
Right. Now that's from the GM standpoint, a way to look at it. But I would say with the GM move that you made, those pieces was vital to get you to the third pick to get you one of the
Yeah,
best draft picks you ever picked in and from your words, right?
I got this side.
yeah. We couldn't have got better. He's better for the most part. Ezekiel, dog. Top 3 tight end in the league. Out. He just gets open like 7-Eleven. Stay open. That's what he tell us, right? But then to come get a third generation tight end, Trey Novacek. I mean, that's Jay Novacek is one of the better tight ends in this day.
Right.
Get his grandson,
Nobody look at that shit.
impressive, man.
Okay.
And to say you upgraded at the tight end position right away, you upgraded at receiver, like you got rid of a really good receiver that really started to fall out of way with your system, what was going on. He started to fall to the back of the classroom, right? And you went out and got you another guy. But again, with Marino being so young like that, right? And you go get the pieces now, your weapons are the guys that are going to grow with him.
Yeah.
And how do you feel as though that's helping your offense at this point right now with Will Falk, uh,
Yeah.
Calvin, and M. Dot?
Well, one of the things we set our minds on was, we always want to be trendsetters, right? And been a lot of guys that have thrown for caught 1,000 yards, thrown for 4, 5, 6,000 yards, but it's never been a team that had 6 1,000-yard receivers.
Mm.
And coming into the season, we wanted to challenge ourselves. I mean, we already got all the awards, right? Last year, name award to just, right? Like,
Mm.
but now we were, expand and grow. So,
All right, Marino, year 3 right now, right?
yep, you're doing.
What
Fifth
would
year
you
option
say
coming
that?
up.
What would you say the strides have been from seeing your quarterback from his rookie year to now? I remember as a rookie, he did play in the Super Bowl. He hasn't played in a game under the AFC Championship thus far. Um, but what's the growth? What have you what are you seeing this year that had your team undefeated right
He,
now?
he's playing within the system. He's not taking chances. He got 5 picks in 6 games. Typically, that's doubled or even tripled by now, right?
Mm.
So he's taking his time. He's slowing down. Reading coverage is better. He's getting everybody involved. Um, yeah, he's definitely taking the next step, man.
All right, all right. I love it. I love it. I love it. We got some quarterbacks amongst this league right now that are taking that next step. And while they're taking their steps to elite, you still got some veterans that's still sticking around right now that's trying to hold on to their crowns right now. So we will get into that position by position talking about players. But this is the Diaper Dandy show. And the Diaper Dandy
Um,
show, we start off right away. So all year last year, the Bills and the Colts all year were battling it out for the #1 pick. Um, and that battle got a little bit of hectic, but it ended up being the Bills with the first overall, the Colts with the second overall pick. Now, all year long, they were throwing out smoke screens to each other. They did not want each other knowing who they wanted to go get, right? Like we knew they were in the
yeah.
market for a quarterback. Both those guys traded their quarterbacks, right? You saw AR-15 go to the Cincinnati Bengals. Let's start there first. AR-15 goes to the Cincinnati Bengals. Do you think that was a good trade for the Bengals with Joe Burrow still on their roster today after that trade was made at the middle of last season?
I think the jury's still out on is that a good trade. I think if this year the Bengals have a tough schedule, but if you could see AR-15 get some design runs, he's starting to beat guys with his legs. Um, then I think it's a good trade if he stays on the bench or him and Joe Burrow going back and forth. I think it might have been a wasted trade.
Right, and as of right now, both quarterbacks look like they plan out. I'm not sure if I know coming into the end of the season, the Bengals started to play AR. I also know they started to play him in the playoffs as well. They didn't sit Joe Burrow down, but they had 2 different systems. They had Burrow come out and be Burrow, the gunslinger he is, uh, and then they had AR come in and give him a different dimension to be able to get into the RPO game, read option stuff as well. So it looks like they're in their transition right now. But the Bills also traded their quarterback Josh Allen to the Dallas Cowboys. Was it time? Was it time for him to move on from Josh Allen? Or me personally, I think he was the season too late. I think he should have did it. But everything happens for a reason. The fact that they held on to him, they landed a guy this year in this year's draft that we're going to talk about shortly. But talk about that. The Buffalo Bills did not win a game last year. This team under Josh Allen hasn't been in the playoffs at all throughout the entire first 4 seasons. Although they found a superstar in the wide receiver Reggie Moss, it just didn't turn into wins. So my question to you is, did the Bills do the right thing in trading Josh Allen?
I think the Bills did it for sure. I think they were actually about 2 seasons late, to be honest. Um, but yeah, it was time. I think what he got him back turned into the #1 pick as well as some other draft capital.
Mm-hmm.
He was able to then use that that capital to get in the trade with the Jets to come back and get, a generational player, a legacy player in Dwight Freeney Jr.
Right.
Where he sorely needed a pass rush.
Mm-hmm.
Sorely needed that next dog at defensive end.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean he won, man. He's able to get a quarterback, franchise quarterback, was able to get a franchise defensive end. So yeah, I definitely think he won. I think he just waited a little too long, in my opinion. He endured a couple losses. Maybe he didn't have to.
Yeah, I do think that that team has a solid roster, and you're right. They were missing pass rushers. They haven't had a pass rusher since Von Miller, uh, and we didn't get to see the Miami University product over there, Rose. We didn't get to see him get into his bag and develop into what they thought he would develop into. So I do agree, because they doubled up. They got two edge rushers in this year's draft. They did a good job in the draft before getting the D tackle, but now it's full circle. The one thing the Buffalo Bills did have already was a solid defense. They were just missing, like you said, generational talent at the pass rushers as a pass rusher. But then all year we talked about quarterbacks, and as you watch college football play itself out, you had West Virginia, the University of Miami, were two of the top colleges, universities in college football. Um, but we had four quarterbacks that was within that first round grades. Two of them was top five talents. Now Tennessee had a quarterback that kind of reminded us of Joe Milton in a sense, right? But he had, 6'5", 6'6", 225, 230 pounds, Cam Newton type quarterback, really good speed. They did a lot of power running with him. He did fit Tennessee's Josh Heupel's offense, but he had more of more of a physical attack when they used him in the run game. But he had a rifle, right? Not the rifle that people thought, right? But he had a good accuracy. He had good accuracy with a good strong throw, but he didn't have a lights out, it go out your hand at 70 yards, just looking beautiful in the air. He was a dog, and that was McDonald. I think the Bills and the coach both scouted the hell out of this guy. We saw them having guys at their practice every day. But the Bills surprised us at pick one. They didn't go after uh, Matt McDonald from Tennessee. They actually went after the team that quarterback played, got them to a playoff, and actually got them to the championship game. And they went after the other quarterback. Now, this quarterback was another big body quarterback, same type of style, Cam Newton type quarterback, like physical. Like when you go look at these quarterbacks for just what I'm gonna read to you, I'm gonna go to them now. What I'm gonna read to you, you just tell me like which one of them is more Cam Newton-ish, or is it both of them? Let's go to the Colts and Bills roster real fast. Let's take a look at the quarterback, right? Daniel Sharp, 6'5", 234 pounds out of West Virginia. Now, West Virginia, they were undefeated up until they lost the championship game this year. Now, with the green arrows up, this kid is 95 speed, 92 excel, so we're going to count that. But he came in the league with 98 throw power. He also came in the league with 94 deep accuracy. So Daniel Sharp, just looking at him from 90 agility, 92 change of direct, really strong. Guy was benching like he was a linebacker. Besides, look, great throw power. I mean, that's Josh Allen arm right there, 98 throw power. And he was high 80s on his throwing accuracy attributes. But we saw him go for 1,200 yards rushing, 16 rushing touchdowns, and he threw for 3,333 yards. But he also threw for another 33 touchdowns. En route to losing in the championship game to the University of Miami. Hearing me say that, and he was number 3 on the board, right? All year, the battle between the three quarterbacks, right? Or the battle of the three quarterbacks, And I kept saying the West Virginia quarterback might be the best quarterback in the draft. So do you think at number one, the Buffalo Bills got the best quarterback in the draft? Or would you still rest your morals on who they had at number one, and that was Tyson McDonald?
It's tough, man. I must say, I think they got the best player for them.
Okay.
I think McDonald might have been the best player, but I think for the way the Bills play, they got the best player for them.
I can see that. I can see that. So at one and two, like if you all right, so look, if I'm sitting at two and you're the no, I'm sitting at one, I'm the Bills, and you're the coach sitting at two. Is there a significant difference in who you wanted, or was it like you know what, whatever one he get, I get the other one. We still got our guy. Like was it that type of draft with the quarterback position for one and two? The team
Yeah, I think it
whoever.
was. I
Me
think the
too.
coach was going. Coach knew they was going dog either way. At that point, it just depends on if a guy comes with the ability or you have enough wherewithal to get him on ability yourself.
Right.
So I think the coach, once they seen the pro day, I think they were like, okay, we're good.
All right, and then one difference is Daniel went up the board right before the combine. You started hearing the rumblings, and now we've been talking about it all year long. But until the real experts start telling you who the best quarterback in the draft is or who the best player in the draft is, you start hearing that. Even though our rumblings was telling us Daniel Sharp was the guy, he did come out with the highest ability. He came out X Factor, and that was the difference between him and McDonald. X Factor versus superstar. Um, But at one, Bills got Daniel Sharp. Now, let's see where he's at as far as what he's doing thus far throughout the regular season. Look, folks, 79.6 QBR, 1938 passing yards, 19 touchdowns, 23 interceptions. He's been sacked 9 times. He has a 48% completion percentage, and he's averaging 10.4 yards a play, 277 yards a game. Assess that rookie so far half a season. Assess what you say about this rookie.
I think he's shown flashes. He could, he could be a player in this league. The number, the interceptions is high. But then I look at a guy like Reggie and he getting them the balls. You know what I mean?
hmm Here's my question for you. You go out and get a guy that I just showed y'all his passing attributes. I showed you his accuracy. I showed you what he's capable of doing. 38 carries, 255 yards. He averages 7 yards a carry, 2 rushing touchdowns. He does have 2 fumbles on the year. Now, with all that being said, when you are the number one team, number one pick in the draft, and you go get yourself your franchise quarterback after you traded a franchise quarterback, what separates him to make him the right pick for your franchise when you just had that type of guy in Josh Allen? To me, it seems like we're seeing the same offense. We're seeing the same type of play being played from this quarterback position that we saw at Josh Allen. So I start to question, is it the quarterback? Was it the quarterback with Josh Allen? Is it the quarterback now, or is it the system and what they doing? Because it's almost like their offensive coordinator is calling plays, deep shot plays downfield for Reggie Moss.
Yeah, it's definitely the OC might need to get fired. To be honest with you, it seems like this the same thing they were doing with Josh Allen. Um, so they're gonna have to look at their philosophy.
hmm
They know they can do it, but on a consistent basis, you know what I mean?
hmm And that's the question I have for this organization. My thing is, you go get a guy. I mean, it's teams in this league that would have killed to be able to get this type of quarterback, especially a guy you don't have to chase an ability. He's already X factor and he's already a 90 overall to the point where everything's unlocked already. You got yourself a guy, like you got a stud right now. And we're seeing the exact same play out of him that we saw with Josh Allen at this point right now. And I think you're not going to do this quarterback any justice if you don't really start to get into some type of rhythm and system, right? Like I don't care what it is, but like when the offense is looking the same as it looked with Josh Allen at quarterback, you start to ask yourself, is it the talent or is it the
Irving
coaching?
wins Bengals.
Right? Yeah, you do.
So I mean, it's young. It's eight games in so far, right? And we still, we still want to see the upside of Daniel Sharp. I mean, you got to give him his rookie year to go through the growing pains right now. And I guess if I got a receiver like Reggie Moss, I'm bailing myself out throwing it to a guy that can win no 50-50s. But I think it's time to start showing. Get that offensive coordinator out of here. Like he got to go. Bring somebody in that's going to really take this guy under their wing and give him a system that's going to represent who he is as a quarterback. Because the things he did in college is the things I will be doing with him in the NFL, especially with the league transitioning to that, right? Like he got a guy that can really, like you don't need a goal line running back. You don't need a 230-pound running back when you got this quarterback that has the speed of anybody's running back and receiver, but the power of any power back. Like in the red zone, he should be Cam Newton for real. But Daniel Sharp, you got to see who he is. We're going to keep an eye on him and see how he continues to progress during his rookie year. All right, so as we go through him, we go to the next quarterback, and that was the Colts. And they did at pick 2, they went and got Tyson McDonald. Now, you get rid of AR-15, but you bring in 6'5", 225, 93 speed, 93 excel, 94 throw power, right? But this guy has 90 accuracy, short, medium, and deep, right? So he's very accurate. Not the strongest arm, but strong enough arm to better reach those receivers downfield. We know what the Colts possess at the receiver position, right? We know Andrew Roth is still here. You got to play this team early this year too, Falk, right? So you know they got the weapons and they got some speed and they got a guy that got the arm to get it down. Now, in my opinion, this was a perfect pick. Now I get it. You had AR-15, and it's like, well, they had that type of quarterback, but you and me both know AR-15 didn't come from a system of the RPO game. He didn't do that at Florida.
Right, right.
But McDonald did that at Tennessee. So I think, see how as the coach of this team and their general manager went out and got a guy that fits what they want to do to the team. This was a win in my opinion. Now, I don't know the numbers. We'll go take a look at what he did, what he's doing so far in the season.
Right.
And you're seeing 63.2 QBR, 1799, 14 touchdowns, 26 INTs. He's at 53 completion percentage, 8.4 yards a play, 300 yards a game. Now, I'm a little upset with the rating. I do think the completion percentage should be a little higher, especially with them playing the RPO game. A lot of bubbles, a lot of handoff ain't there, throw the ball real fast. There's a lot of that going on right now. So, in my opinion, his completion percentage should be way higher than it is. 26 INTs, a little high for me too, and he's been sacked 18 times as well. He's only carried the ball 3 times this season, as far as running wise. 3 carries.
26 INT.
Yeah, he threw 26 already.
Oh, wow.
Coming out of that RPO system, I do think I mean, what's your assessment of that? The numbers I just gave you, the quarterback they got, they did pick the right quarterback for what they want to do offensively. I don't think they need to change coordinators or anything like that. I do think they got the right guy in for the right system and what they want to do. Because when they hit in on that system, they're a really good, hard team to stop. But like, what do you do with a Tyson McDonald as you assess the numbers I just read to you with the quarterback?
I mean, the turnover is extremely concerning.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot in only 6 games, maybe 7.
Right.
That's about 4 games. Um,
Falky, what I'm saying with both these two quarterbacks that went in the top, the first 2 picks of the draft, what I'm seeing is guys that are asking their quarterbacks to come in and be Superman right away because of what they look like coming in the league, versus protecting their quarterbacks
I
and
agree.
catering to what they need to do as far as, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to protect these type of guys, right? You got to ease your way into being able to make them be complete dogs, right? Right now, you got to get them comfortable uh, within their own skin. Like, right, things are flying around them around 100,000 miles per hour. You need them to be able to slow it down, right? You need them to be able to slow the speed of the game down instead of just throwing them in a fire and expecting them to be 5-year quarterbacks at year one.
Right.
And you can tell they both, are relying on the talent of their quarterbacks because of the high volume of interceptions right now.
Yeah, I mean, 26. Woo. He on pace for 60.
Yep. Keep it up. You're on pace for 60. All right, now the Broncos had the third overall pick in this draft, and they were in position for a quarterback. I think they rolled out with the quarterback they had, traded back, got up out of that pick, and the Jets came screaming down in that pick, and our first defensive player go off the board. Now, the DN and the D tackle that the entire world was talking about throughout college all year wasn't the first DNs or D tackle off the board. Where you were enticed actually to better pick guys that were almost can't miss. Every draft analyst that spoke about those players talked about how they were can't miss players. And Chanel Suggs and Oliver, right?
Yeah.
Now my question to you is, what was your GMs and your war room like to be able to pass up on those guys and go get the number one right end in the league? I mean, in the draft, and R.J. White.
Say that last part again, bro.
R.J. White. What made you pass up on a so-called sure shot like the guaranteed players and Suggs and Oliver? You passed up on them and you went and got the at number 3. You went and got the number one right end in the draft. He was the number one right end in the draft, and R.J. White. So what was the pass up? Why didn't you see Suggs at the number one player in the draft? The entire draft as your third pick, or the D tackle who was the number 8 player in the draft. You went and got the number 12 player in the draft, and R.J. White.
Well, to be honest, strictly scheme. We was looking for a guy that on our base packages could play in,
Hmm.
and then when we go 5, 6 deep, and push down to the NASCAR D tackle.
Right.
And he fit the bill, like dominant end, or he could be a dominant pass rush D tackle. Um, that was important to us to have that.
Right.
And we're not gonna get into the grades and all that, but R.J. White was number one on our board for a reason. That
Right.
was mainly the reason. But we felt like he could be a Hall of Famer either. That's just hard to come by.
And just because they're on the draft board at certain spots and they're projected to come out certain spots, you click on those guys, it'll tell you if you got what was the value of the person you picked. And when RJ was taken, it was arguably he was the best player in the draft.
All right.
Is it safe to say that?
Yes.
All right, now, since I have you on, what is he doing for you this year? Like, we can go look at numbers, but let's talk about the impact. Day one
I
starter right
mean,
away, right?
he hasn't started right away because we already have award winners, Pro
Hmm.
Bowl guys, highly touted guys. At our pretty much they play left outside or right outside linebacker, but they're ends.
Right,
And Jules Peppers and Will McDonald. These guys are 15 plus sacks guys. Then we already have Quentin Williams, the arguably the best D tackle in the league. Some will argue Dexter Lawrence. I will argue Quentin Williams based on sacks. Um, so you have that on the D line already. Um, so he's not coming in and getting big numbers right away. But what he's doing is making impact plays, man. Like he leads the team in hurries. Every time I look around, he's almost getting a sack. I just think he got some youthfulness in him.
hmm
He don't got the dog in him just yet. Um, but he's probably our best defensive rookie player, and that's saying something because we always draft hot, good players on defense.
Right.
Haynes Holloways, the Billmans, the Aaron Glenn Jr. lockdowns, good ones. We always draft dogs on defense.
Now, it's cool to come down to three to get your guy, but at the end of the year, you spoke about not having a big body guy that could be more, a guy that could play anywhere on the D line, right? 6'6", 295 pounds. That gave you your first defensive lineman that comes in outside of Quinnen. That give you a guy that's a big body guy, like you said. NASCAR, he goes to D tackle, but he's still on edge as the edge rusher, right? And could stand up and
Yep.
play outside linebacker in 3-4 if you needed him to. How important and what made you feel like last year was the year you noticed, you know what, we need a guy, a big body guy down there that could stop the run and get to the quarterback. You said that going into the off season. What made you assess that? Like, what was your assessment to be able to understand that that's what guys were missing? Like, what did you see?
Well, when we get to those games, we're playing the Ravens, or we're playing the Niners, or we're playing the Bengals, or teams that have good teams, or Rams, right? Steelers, Seahawks, you name it, right? We're playing those guys. I just was looking and I was like, we're not strong enough. Outside of Quentin Williams, we're not where we need to be all around, right? Pass
Right.
rushing, yeah. But if somebody wanted to give me 60 carries, other than Quentin Williams, I don't think we could hold up.
All right. I mean, when you a guy that assess your team that way, right, and you can see pretty much you guys see into the future, right? And you go through games, like you said, you go through some games, and it might not necessarily be what you're not seeing your defense doing. It might be what you see other team defenses doing, and in the interior, and why they're doing it, right? That make you
Right.
say, if we can stop that offensively, and we can do that defensively, we take our team to the next level. In drafting R.J. White, do you feel like you did that? I mean, your team undefeated right now. I mean, y'all handled the Ravens in week one. Do you feel like, that piece comes in and you add him with Quinnen and Haynes Holloway from last year's draft? Do you think Reggie White was that piece you needed to better do the things you need to do this season?
Without a doubt, man. Without a doubt, I think in a year or so, you're going to be seeing him in those conversations for best defender. Not D line, but best defender.
Right. Now, the things that you graded him out to see, like the combine numbers, the watching him play all year at Tennessee, all the things you
Right.
graded him out to see, are you seeing that on the field in practice right now? Like, I know the numbers, 7 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, not a sack yet. But again, he's playing spot duty. This is a team that's coming back with one of the best defenses in the league. Not only that, award winners on that defense, right? So he's
Right.
coming into a situation where he got to find his way right now. But, like, what are you seeing out of him in practice or even in games?
I'm just saying explosiveness. I'm saying he belongs. He's making some rookie mistakes, but you know, motor is unrelenting, and I just see this guy is going to be a special one, man.
Up there it is, R.J. White, the number 3 pick in the draft this year, first non-quarterback to come off the board. All right, so the Bengals move in the Buccaneers spot. They come down and get the 4th overall pick this year draft. And when we get to this player, you understand why they came all the way down to 4 to get their guy. So you had to understand that, you know what, there's no way. Right, I go
Savage
trade for
legacy player
AR-15.
kinda changed the
I
way
trade
we
I
get
trade for
subjects
AR-15
kinda
that
make things
forces the
start to
Colts into
draw you
drafting a
guys
quarterback.
earlier.
When you want to talk about GM and trying to control shit to get to what you gotta get to, let's start there first. Well, the Bills got the
Right.
number 1 pick. They traded their quarterback, so I know they gotta go quarterback.
Yep.
I'm gonna go trade the Colts for his quarterback and make him have to draft a quarterback in the draft, right?
Yep.
And the Broncos is in front of me at this point right now, and they need a quarterback themselves. But the Broncos is the one person that could threaten what I'm trying to do or what I'm trying to get this draft, right? And then out of nowhere, the Jets come screaming down. And it was hallelujah because we know the Jets don't need a quarterback. So it's like, oh shit, this is the one spot that could fuck me in the spot, right? And the Jets' plans was get bigger on the D line. RJ White comes off the board. And that leaves the player I'm about to talk about to sit there right for a guy that was looking for his guy, right? Every year I make legacy players in the draft that guys had. And if you see it, then you go get them, right? If you can get them. And Savage was in this draft. Solo Savage at corner. 6'3", 215. Safety, sub linebacker, cornerback, and one player fault. Some would think that's the number one player in the draft.
Yeah, some will argue it.
All right. So my question to you is: the Bengals come down and they get their guy. You obsessed. I mean, you definitely graded this guy out. You looked at him. It made you have a conversation with your staff. Do we go get that type of kid, or do we go get what we really want and need? When you looked at that guy, Mr. Savage, let me ask you, how hard was it to not pick him versus picking RJ White? Like, I know you had to have a conversation right before the clock started to tick or right before your pick came up. You had to have a conversation with your GM and your owner and all that. Do we go get Earl Savage, or do we stay to the plan and go get the guy we really need more than Earl Savage? Right? Because this guy comes out at cornerback. He was one of the top cornerbacks in the draft that can play either or, safety or corner. And now he's, on the Bengals roster to help out that secondary. And this was a must-need pick for the Bengals because they got one of the best front sevens in the league, especially at the D-line. I would say one of the best defensive lines in the league. So the top players that you want to take off the board at, that early in the draft, they didn't need that position, right? So they went and got their guy at 4, and Earl Savage. Man, 98 speed, 99 acceleration at 6'3", 215. And again, a guy that can cover any receiver on the outside or in the slot. He also can get his hands dirty and play at that sub linebacker position as well as playing back deep at the safety position. Falk, man, last conversation for you before I go on through the rest of the top 10. But what did they get with this kid?
They got a potential Hall of Famer, a potential top five playmaker on the back end of that defense. But it's yet to equate in the wins.
Right. 20 solos, 21 assists, 41 total tackles already, 2 tackles for loss, INT, and a sack. 2 deflections on his young season right now. Doesn't look like the interception yards are there for any touchdowns yet. But again, when you got a piece that can play 3 different positions for you, you got a chess piece that you can move around, do some things with. Now, however, it's not equating to wins right now when this team is an every year playoff team. They're really, in their minds, I know they felt like I would have felt if I had this team, the team he put on the field. We get Earl Savage, we win. That gives us another win in the playoffs, right? Like we don't walk home in the divisional round. We get to the AFC Championship at least with this type of chess piece. Now, so far hasn't equated to wins right now, but is a very important piece. And remember, he's still a diaper dandy in a league full of veterans and big time players running around. Like he's gonna catch his feet, and then the game will slow down for him. And as long as they're scheming right with him, I think they got a shot to be able to be really good with this guy, with this piece. But Falk, last question for you again. If you had an Earl Savage, how are you playing a guy that you can play anywhere in the secondary or at the sub linebacker?
He's gonna be in my box just to start off. Gonna be in the box or he's gonna be back deep.
Right.
And the reason for that is, like I said again, he's a playmaker, man. So a playmaker, ball hawk, that ball in the air, everybody.
I agree, man. I think they got a loaded secondary right now. You know, this team did go trade for Tyson Campbell and Derek Stingley to help out at that cornerback position. They went and got themselves dogs at the cornerback position. They bring him in. Not only do they bring him in, they still got one of the fastest secondaries, if not the fastest secondary in the league, right? Outside of the Seahawks, right? Because then you still got the kid that plays safety or slash corner. They got a lot of guys that are tweeners in that secondary that they can move around and do some things with. I like the pick here. At 4, you got to go get a guy like this, and then continue to build around that. Because especially when you barely got 3 seconds to throw the ball, when you play
Yep.
the Cincinnati Bengals, you got a guy that can really be. You know, he's a ball hawk. He can get to that football, and you got speed and legit man-to-man good corners on this team that can really lock down receivers and guys on the back end that can really run with anybody. So. I can't wait to see how it all comes together and what they're going to do defensively, scheme wise, to make it work. Great pick by the Bengals here, sitting at Earl Savage at 4. All right, at 5, the Baltimore Ravens pop up at 5. Via trade the year before with the Lamar Jackson trade that gave them the Atlanta Falcons pick, and they go, some would say another D lineman, but they go get Cnell Suggs. Now, this was the number 1 player in the draft. This was ranked the number 1 overall player on the board, and he was, considered by the experts the best player in the draft. All right, 6'8", 305 pounds. He got a brother that got drafted by the Bears in the same draft. At D tackle, which I just spoke about those 2 guys before I talked about R.J. White going before him. You add depth to an already really good front 4 already. But they got a guy that, at 6'8", 305 pounds, he got the speed of an outside linebacker as well. Like the Baltimore Ravens, their base defense is the 3-4. So having this guy outside linebacker, coming off the edge with that type of force, 6'8",
Yep.
305 pounds, you got a D tackle that got outside linebacker, middle linebacker type speed, coming at you. Now, the difference though is that front 4 is loaded. They got guys that are up and coming themselves, right? And they got some veterans to hold down, like a Dolphy Owe and a Jabo and a Matabuke. Even Miles Garrett is still on this defense right now. Um, Saragusa is a year older now. So Suggs is a guy that, you bring him in and then you got to get him on the field, Falk. Like at the end of the day, as much as it's a wait your turn thing for the Baltimore Ravens, the next man up is going, usually we redshirting our guys that at these positions right now while the other guys eat. The Baltimore was forced to put this guy on the field right away. So I will ask you, was that a situation that they had to do that? Like, you can't, it's a freak, 6'8", 305 pounds at edge rusher. That can play outside linebacker, could play D tackle for you. Really good against the run, really good against getting to the quarterback right now. Now, we'll check out some of his numbers right now because even though we're starting him, he's not a full-time starter because of the rotation we have on that D line. But 15 tackles right now, Falk. 4 tackles for loss and a half a sack. He hasn't had a full sack himself yet, though. But what chess piece did the Ravens get with Cnell Suggs? Me personally, I would say he's no different than what the Bengals got in the secondary, where they got a guy that can play corner, slot corner, outside, safety, outside corner, or sub linebacker. And Cnell Suggs can play D tackle, defensive end, outside linebacker. Shit, if they wanted to, they could probably play him at middle linebacker with that type of speed, with that size. So that's a hell of a pick, and that's another generational pick. You come down to the top 10 to be able to get players like this, right? And the guys that all picked so far from 1 to 5 got top 5 talent. Simple as that. The Colts did a hell of a job with their pick at quarterback. So did the Bills. You picked a really hell of a big time player, RJ. Savage goes 4, and Cnell Suggs goes 5. Great picks thus far through the first 5. Now we're going to attack who had pick number 6. And that was the New York Giants, Falk. And although they got a speed demon, right? Like they got a guy whose brother been in the league running kicks back
Yeah.
every year, right? They didn't get him in the first round. They was able to get him with their second round pick. The Giants went and got the number 1 corner on the board. And me personally, I think that was a hell of a pick, something that they needed. Like they got that type of guy. Now he was a top 10 player in the draft for sure. And they got him at pick 6. So did they
Yeah,
change his
last part
name?
again, bro. You went out.
He was a top 10 player in the draft. Like he was inside the top 10 overall wise.
Yeah.
And they got him at pick 6 into Jatavius Jackson. Now, Solo goes before him. Obviously, 6'3", a guy that's a tweener, could do a little bit of everything. But 5'11", 201 out of Florida State. Really good speed, right? Running 4'3", 92 overall, 96 speed, 96 excel. X factor off the door. He already got great man, great zone, and good press right now, right? At 81 press, 85 man zone, 83 zone man. He comes in day one as a corner that can play the shutdown, right? They traded the Ravens last year for Chris McAllister. This new coaching staff liked that Chris McAllister kept him on the roster to be, their number one
Right.
corner. And then you're dealing with Dontavius, and then you also got Deontay Banks, another speed demon out of Maryland that came out in draft year 1, 2023 draft. So I like what they did here. To go get a guy. Let's go look at his numbers and see what he's done on the season thus far, because he's a plug and play right away, because this is a guy that the new coaching staff brought in themselves. 19 tackles and an INT on the year thus far. Love Dontavius Jackson. At 7, the Cowboys come up.
Oh shit.
The Cowboys didn't need a quarterback because they traded for Josh Allen. They needed to bolster their defense, and they did that through the linebacker level, right? And I'm assuming they changed his name. No, where the fuck is he at? He probably did some ass shit and moved it. Yep, ass shit. Moved a 6'4", 253-pound nigga to DN.
Terrible.
He's the worst, bro.
Terrible.
They do get the number one linebacker in the draft, X Factor. He was the left outside
Terrible.
linebacker, but they moved him to DN. Let's see if it's working for them. So now at right end, they got Micah Parsons at 28 years old, 99 overall. 90, right? Their next defensive end is Sam Williams at right end, 28, 91 overall. Then they bring in the rookie from outside linebacker to DN. Let's see if they got at linebacker to see if that means something. I mean, 6 foot, 246 pound, 22-year-old, 84 overall, 90 speed. They do bring Totioto back. They get Henry Totioto from the Bears. It looked like they didn't sign their player back. I mean, I guess I don't see it. I don't see why you would move
Yeah.
him from outside linebacker to DN. But let's take a look at it and see what he's done at DN for him. They definitely got themselves an X factor. Let's see if we're making plays for him. Maybe he might shut us up, Falk, because at defense end, he got 20 solo tackles, 8 assist tackles, 28 total. 9 tackles for losses and 5.5 sacks. This man also caused 3 fumbles already. So we know what he will look like at linebacker just looking at the forced fumbles, right? But at defensive end, they got themselves a Michael Parsons, another Michael Parsons. So did I speak too soon? I mean, because it seemed like it's working for him at 9 tackles for losses, 5.5 sacks. I mean, his
No.
numbers is better than any of the rookie numbers we showed thus far. I'm still not playing him at DN. I mean, you could put him at edge rusher, when you in your speed packages and all that, your pass rush
LOL
packages.
equals CPU
But they got him at linebacker right now. He said IB equals CPU love. hmm
Mm-mm-mm.
I mean, I guess I mean, the numbers is there. So Arias Heron at number 7, he has the better stats out of everybody we showed thus far in the top 10. So the Cowboys moved their outside linebacker to right end, where they got a crowded right end class right now. All right, back up again at 8. The Ravens come right back up, and this was a pick that they made with the Panthers the year before, which kept them in that top 10 again. And they go get the D tackle, and they go get a guy that really he's gonna do a lot more red shirt in this year, although we used our points to unlock him right away. And Mike Israel, another one of those 6'6", 395 pounds. They went and got monsters. They got monsters up front. He's 400 pounds with 88 speed, 90 XL right now. coming up the middle right now. When he gets ready to go, it's going to be nothing but problems. Somebody in his room is going. We already know Myles Garrett will be 32 next year. At age 32, you start to lose your abilities at all. I don't care if you finish top five or not. You start losing them at 32. So he'll be out of here. Matabuke is still sitting here right now. Somebody's going to be the odd man out. They got D tackles on the block in Baltimore right now, but they're getting an athletic guy that can actually play defensive end in their 3-4 packages. He doesn't have to be a D tackle. Although with that type of speed and strength up the middle with that size at D tackle, I mean most guys probably have him on the field starting right now. Um, but they really not. He's playing spot duty right now. He's learning
Yeah.
their system, and I think that's the best thing for him right now. He doesn't have a half a sack, one tackle for loss, one tackle, one assist tackle, no solos right now. 395 though, Falk at six. What's that again? 6'6", 395 pounds, 88 speed, 90 excel, bro. He athletic too, 88 agile, 88 change of direct. Like the guy is an athletic specimen. All right. Number nine. At number nine, you're looking on the board to see who had that pick, and that was the Bears, and they go get C. Suggs' brother, and that's D tackle Oliver. Let's go look at the Bears. They got a dog right here, man. This is a dog right here. Obviously, he comes on that roster. I mean, the Bears, you could tell they're not managing their roster anymore. He went from, being one of the best NFC teams in the NFC to not paying attention to your roster and letting shit die over here. And you bring in a D tackle that you definitely need because everybody behind him is, I mean, to be in season 5 and you got 60s on your roster still, that just tells me you just not in the league paying attention to shit right now.
Ooh.
But Damon Oliver at 6'8", 345 pounds, he's another freak. 85 speed, 85 excel. You're looking at the change of direct and agility is there. Strong as an ox. And, with the Red Owls down losing games right now, you can't see their real legit traits right now. But this is a dog. This guy could have went number 1 in this draft. He's that good. Um, but again, the Bears are struggling and for wins right now. That means they're not actively playing their games right now, and that's usually how it go. When you're losing, you're not playing. But look at the numbers thus far: 15 tackles total, 5 tackles for loss, 3 sacks right now. He has a deflection and a fumble recovery right now.
That's not bad.
And not bad at all for the first 6 games. But again, they need to get over there and get some shit done over there because they got to get it back. I mean, like, what do you feel like about the Bears? They fell off. They went from being in the playoffs and talked about as one of the top 4 teams over there to just barely mentioned. How does Coach Carter get that? How does he change that? Because you got to clean this roster up somehow, some way, because that's terrible to have nothing but 60s at the D tackle position overall wise, outside of Damon Oliver. Want to get it together, my boy. Got to get it
Got,
together. All right,
got
now the
to.
last pick in the top 10 right now. The Chargers come up and they come at 10. And the Chargers, in my opinion, they went after what they needed. And he did a good job of going after what he needed because they needed another secondary piece that can be a game changer on the back end for them. And they went out and they got Chris Cunningham at 6 foot, 193 pounds out of UCLA. 84 overall, 93 speed, 95 excel. I mean, everything is Red Owls down, so we do know that his man coverage is in the 80s already. Let's take a look and see what he's done thus far. All right, so 11 solos, 10 assists, 21 total tackles, and he has an INT on the year as well, 1 deflection. He comes in right away as their number 1 corner. He's going to be the guy that's going to be forced to cover year number 1, and that's going to be growing pains for a rookie. But guess what? They're going to force him into the fire to do it. And I think that, at this point, they have no choice but to do it. They did have a good draft last year, and I think they did follow that draft they had last year. They followed it up with another good draft. So let's take a look at the Chargers and how they continue to develop over there in that AFC West. All right, that's your top 10 picks out of Diaper Dandies. That's your show for the night. Tomorrow's show, we'll be talking more in depth of what's going on in the league right now in
Yes,
season 5.
sir.
And hits the franchise guru. Holla at you when we holla at you. You heard? Matter of fact,
Peace.
if you watching right now, and you still on, because it was like 9 on. Let's see who's still watching right now. Type your name in the comment section
Give
Uh-oh.
that shit 3 minutes, huh?
and type I'm here. Just type I'm here in the comment section right now.
minutes. Cool.
12:49 at 12:51. At 12:51 is over with. I'm here. Type I'm here in the comment section.
I'm here. Packers.
I'm here. Type I'm here in the comment section.
I'm here.
Go take that
I'm
shit
here.
in. I'm
I'm
talking
here.
about
Type
something
in right
here.
now. I'm here.
The
I'm
fuck?
here.
Where Rob at? Where Rob at?
My fucking phone tripping. I can't even unlock my iPhone. Shit got some
I'm back.
bullshit
Type
on
your
there.
name if and can you can.
Look at Snake talking about some. Oh, gotta type your name. If Ant
Yeah.
can, you can.
Uncle Artie did it already. Didn't I do it already?
1 minute left.
1 minute left.
Yo, this shit blowing my shit, bro. Why is my phone? I can't even unlock my shit to even type my shit in there. Hold on, man.
You moderating the show.
Steelasium here eyes.
Onk's in there. Oh
I'm here.
shit. About 40 seconds.
40 seconds. I'm in here.
I know Rob ain't gonna.
I'm here.
Rob, you was here.
I'm here, Robin.
I'm here.
Rob, you was here. I'm here, Rob.
20 seconds.
That shit already 12:51.
Raven, I'm here.
And we
Oh,
are
that's time.
gone.